Deuteronomy chapter 1 verses 19 to 25. The Lord had commanded us to leave Mount Sinai and go to the hill country that belonged to the Amorites, so we started out into the huge desert. You remember how frightening it was, but soon we were at Kadesh Barnea, and I told you, we have reached the hill country. It belongs to the Amorites now, but the Lord our God is giving it to us. He is the same God our ancestors worshipped, and He has told us to go in and take this land, so don't hesitate and be afraid. And I told you, we have reached the hill country. It belongs to the Amorites now, but the Lord our God is giving it to us. He is the same God our ancestors worshipped, and He has told us to go in and take this land, so don't hesitate and be afraid. Then all of you came to me and said, before we go into the land, let's send some men to explore it. When they come back, they can tell us about the towns we will find and what roads we should take to get there. It seemed like a good idea, so I chose 12 men, one from each tribe. They explored the hill country as far as Bunch Valley and even brought back some of the fruit. They said, the Lord our God is giving us good land. Numbers chapter 13. The Lord said to Moses, choose a leader from each tribe and send them into Canaan to explore the land I am giving you. So Moses sent 12 tribal leaders from Israel's camp in the Paran desert with orders to explore the land of Canaan. And here are their names: Shammua son of Zachar from Reuben, Shaphat son of Hori from Simeon, Caleb son of Jephunneh from Judah, Igal son of Joseph from Issachar, Joshua son of Nun from Ephraim, Palti son of Raphu from Benjamin, Gadiel son of Sodi from Zebulun, Gadi son of Suzi from Manasseh, Amiel son of Jamalai from Dan, Sethur son of Michael from Asher, Nabi son of Vavsi from Naphtali, and Gul son of Maki from Gad. Before Moses sent them into Canaan, he said, after you go through the southern desert of Canaan, continue north into the hill country and find out what those regions are like. Be sure to remember how many people live there, how strong they are, and if they live in open towns or walled cities. See if the land is good for growing crops and find out what kinds of trees grow there. It's time for grapes to ripen, so try to bring back some of the fruit that grows there. The 12 men left to explore Canaan from the Zin desert in the south all the way to the town of Rehob near Lebo-Hamath in the north. As they went through the southern desert, they came to the town of Hebron, which was 7 years older than the Egyptian town of Zoan. In Hebron, they saw the 3 Anakim clans of Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai. When they got to Bunch Valley, they cut off a branch with such a huge bunch of grapes that it took 2 men to carry it on a pole. That's why the place was called Bunch Valley. Along with the grapes, they also took back pomegranates and figs. After exploring the land of Canaan for 40 days, the 12 men returned to Kadesh in the Paran desert and told Moses, Aaron, and the people what they had seen. They showed them the fruit and said, look at this fruit. The land we explored is rich with milk and honey. But the people who live there are strong, and their cities are large and walled. We even saw the 3 Anakim clans. Besides that, the Amalekites live in the southern desert, the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites are in the hill country, and the Canaanites live along the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. Caleb calmed down the crowd and said, let's go and take the land. I know we can do it. But the other men replied, those people are much too strong for us. Then they started spreading rumors and saying, we won't be able to grow anything in that soil. And the people are like giants. In fact, we saw the Nephilim, who are the ancestors of the Anakim. They were so big that we felt as small as grasshoppers. Numbers chapter 14 verses 1 to 39. After the Israelites heard the report from the 12 men who had explored Canaan, the people cried all night and complained to Moses and Aaron, we wish we had died in Egypt or somewhere out here in the desert. Is the Lord leading us into Canaan, just to have us killed and our women and children captured? We'd be better off in Egypt. Then they said to one another, let's choose our own leader and go back. Moses and Aaron bowed down to pray in front of the crowd. Joshua and Caleb tore their clothes in sorrow and said, we saw the land ourselves, and it's very good. If we obey the Lord, he will surely give us that land rich with milk and honey. So don't rebel. We have no reason to be afraid of the people who live there. The Lord is on our side, and they won't stand a chance against us." The crowd threatened to stone Moses and Aaron to death. But just then, the Lord appeared in a cloud at the sacred tent. The Lord said to Moses, "I have done great things for these people, and they still reject me by refusing to believe in my power. So they will no longer be my people. I will destroy them, but I will make you the ancestor of a nation even stronger than theirs." Moses replied, "With your mighty power you rescued your people from Egypt, so please don't destroy us here in the desert. If you do, the Egyptians will hear about it and tell the people of Canaan. Those Canaanites already know that we are your people, and that we see you face to face. And they have heard how you lead us with a thick cloud during the day and flaming fire at night. But if you kill us, they will claim it was because you weren't powerful enough to lead us into Canaan as you promised." Moses replied, "With your mighty power you rescued your people from Egypt, so please don't destroy us here in the desert. If you do, the Egyptians will hear about it and tell the people of Canaan. Those Canaanites already know that we are your people, and that we see you face to face. And they have heard how you lead us with a thick cloud during the day and flaming fire at night. But if you kill us, they will claim it was because you weren't powerful enough to lead us into Canaan as you promised." Moses replied, "With your mighty power you rescued your people from Egypt, so please don't destroy us here in the desert. If you do, the Egyptians will hear about it and tell the people of Canaan. Those Canaanites already know that we are your people, and that we see you face to face. And they have heard how you lead us with a thick cloud during the day and flaming fire at night. But if you kill us, they will claim it was because you weren't powerful enough to lead us into Canaan as you promised." Moses replied, "With your mighty power you rescued your people from Egypt, so please don't destroy us here in the desert. If you do, the Egyptians will hear about it and tell the people of Canaan. Those Canaanites already know that we are your people, and that we see you face to face. And they have heard how you lead us with a thick cloud during the day and flaming fire at night. But if you kill us, they will claim it was because you weren't powerful enough to lead us into Canaan as you promised. Show us your great power, Lord. You promised that you love to show mercy and kindness. And you said that you are very patient, but that you will punish everyone guilty of doing wrong, not only them but their children and grandchildren as well. You are merciful, and you treat people better than they deserve. So please forgive these people, just as you have forgiven them ever since they left Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "In answer to your prayer, I do forgive them. But as surely as I live and my power has no limit, I swear that not one of these Israelites will enter the land I promised to give their ancestors. These people have seen my power in Egypt and in the desert, but they will never see Canaan. They have disobeyed and tested me too many times. I swear that not one of these Israelites will enter the land I promised to give their ancestors. These people have seen my power in Egypt and in the desert, but they will never see Canaan. They have disobeyed and tested me too many times. But my servant Caleb isn't like the others. So because he has faith in me, I will allow him to cross into Canaan, and his descendants will settle there. Now listen, Moses. The Amalekites and the Canaanites live in the valleys of Canaan. And tomorrow, you'll need to turn around and head back into the desert toward the Red Sea." The Lord told Moses and Aaron to give this message to the people of Israel: "You sinful people have complained against me too many times. Now I swear by my own life that I will give you exactly what you wanted. To give this message to the people of Israel: You sinful people have complained against me too many times. Now I swear by my own life that I will give you exactly what you wanted. You will die right here in the desert, and your dead bodies will cover the ground. You have insulted me, and none of you men who are over 20 years old will enter the land that I solemnly promised to give you as your own. Only Caleb and Joshua will go in. You were worried that your own children would be captured. But I, the Lord, will let them enter the land you have rejected. You will die here in the desert. Your children will wander around in this desert 40 years, suffering because of your sins, until all of you are dead. I will punish you severely every day for the next 40 years, 1 year for each day that the land was explored. You sinful people who ganged up against me will die here in the desert. 10 of the men sent to explore the land had brought back bad news and had made the people complain against the Lord. So he sent a deadly disease that killed those men, but he let Joshua and Caleb live. The people of Israel were very sad after Moses gave them the Lord's message. Deuteronomy chapter 1 verses 26 to 40. You did not want to go into the land, and you refused to obey the Lord your God. You stayed in your tents and grumbled, "The Lord must hate us, he brought us out of Egypt, just so he could hand us over to the Amorites and get rid of us. We are afraid, because the men who explored the land told us that the cities are large, with walls that reach to the sky. The people who live there are taller and stronger than we are, and some of them are Anakim. We have nowhere to go." Then I said, "Don't worry. The Lord our God will lead the way. He will fight on our side, just as he did when we saw him do all those things to the Egyptians. And you know that the Lord has taken care of us the whole time we've been in the desert, just as you might carry one of your children. But you still would not trust the Lord, even though he had always been with us in the desert. During the daytime, the Lord was in the cloud, leading us in the right direction and showing us where to camp. And at night, he was there in the fire. You had made the Lord angry, and he said, "You people of this generation are evil, and I refuse to let you go into the good land that I promised your ancestors. Caleb son of Jephunneh is the only one of your generation that I will allow to go in. He obeyed me completely, so I will give him and his descendants the land he explored." The Lord was even angry with me because of you people, and he said, "Moses, I won't let you go into the land either. Instead, I will let Joshua your assistant lead Israel to conquer the land. So encourage him." Then the Lord spoke to you again, "People of Israel, you said that your innocent young children would be taken prisoner in the battle for the land. But someday I will let them go into the land, and with my help they will conquer it and live there. Now, turn around and go back into the desert by way of Red Sea Road."